Well, welcome everyone to chapel. I have loved these times that we get to gather midweek and just hear a good word, to sing truth about God and about his presence in our lives. And so we're going to start today with a song, one of my favorite songs to sing about who God is and how just how powerful and big that he is. So would you engage with us right now?
What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus.
So ever since I was a little kid, I have not liked scary things or sad things. When it came to anything scary, even just like a preview on a movie, I would always turn the volume down or leave the room or try to think of something else because it just did something to my emotions that I was not prepared for. I was not the kid in high school that was like, let's go watch the scary movies. I'm like, who does that? Why would you want to intentionally terrify yourself? Like, that is just not in my wheelhouse. The other thing I didn't love was sad things. I didn't want to hear about sad stories. I didn't want to focus on anything that was sad. I was just always kind of quick to say, okay, well, where do we, like, let's move on to the happy things. Let's move on to the things that bring us joy. Let's move on to the things that are good in our lives. Well, those things have still continued to carry me into my adulthood and into my adult life. And for the most part, like, I don't love this idea of lamenting. I don't love the idea of grieving something or of kind of being sad about anything. Even my daughter and I are different, and sometimes she'll feel like all these emotions, and I can watch her as she sits on her bed, and it's just really important to her to kind of process and really feel the sadness. To which I'm like, okay, let's give this about 5 minutes, and then let's move on and like decide about all the good things that are happening. But it really matters to her to kind of sit in it for a second, to really feel her emotions. Well, this last season, this season that we are still living in, there are some things that I think I have been realizing. I have been trying so hard to see the positive, to see what is good, to see how we can kind of turn, make lemonade out of lemons, if you will, kind of that old saying. But I think I've realized that there is a lot to grieve about this season too. And the grieving part of it and the loss that we've all experienced together, and while it could look like very different to each and every one of us, there's true loss. There is true pain. There are things to grieve, whether it's around COVID-19 and the pandemic or not, whether it has nothing to do with any of that. But life meshed together with this crazy season that we are all in together with COVID and with the pandemic, there have been things that have been lost. And while I keep trying to kind of focus on but here's what we gain, or here's new perspective, I think I'm realizing that for those things to truly bring the joy, for me to truly see all of the good, I do have to grieve and lament what has been taken. I do have to grieve and lament what has shifted for all of us, and what could be different, for me and could be different for you. So I was reading in Psalms the other day as we were kind of reading through the book of Psalms in our last series, and I came across Psalm 30, and it really spoke to me and kind of David's heart. And so it's that the famous verse about while we may have mourning at night, like there is joy that comes in the morning. But I just thought, man, I need to probably take and give voice to some mourning, to mourn some things in my life, to mourn some things in the life of our church, to mourn some things in the life of the people around me, and that the things of this world are broken, and to acknowledge that, and to allow myself, sometimes like my daughter, to sit in it and to give weight and to give voice to what has been lost. Of course, that's not where I want to stay, and of course, that's not what I'm encouraging us to do, is to stay, but to name and recognize what has been lost. At our staff meeting last week, we did this. So we kind of went around the room, and as a staff team, we've been doing our best to just have, pivot in this season to say, okay, this threw a curveball at us that we were not prepared for. I will argue we were prepared. We just didn't know it. But that none of us really would have picked, right? We want to do ministry. We looked around the room, and it's like, man, we got into ministry to be with people. We didn't get into ministry to stand behind a camera screen and to talk to an audience that we can't even see their faces. This isn't what we did. Brent doesn't want to lead worship to a screen. He wants to lead worship in a room of people that we can feel God moving in His Spirit, and all of us, worshiping together. All of our staff, wants to be able to serve people, to look people in the eyes and say, you matter, and we're so glad you're here, and how are you doing, and how can we help? We didn't want to, get into ministry to, like I said, stand behind a camera screen, but this is what it is for this season. And of course we want to be faithful. Of course we want to see all the good that can come out of it. But we looked around the room and said, but in reality, like there have definitely been some things that we have had to mourn, some things that we've lost, some things, just in transition in our team and just the challenges that this season faces of being online, and having our building closed. We've just moved in. We've been dreaming about this for John and I for a decade. We've been dreaming of when we can open up space to make more room for more people. And of course we wait 10 years, we get 10 weeks, and now we've been online for almost 30 weeks, which is crazy. So we went around the room and just said, hey, let's just name it. Like, let's name, what are we sad about? Like, what are we bummed that we're missing out on? What are the things that we wish we could be doing that we're not? And let's give voice to those, and let's give merit to that. And so I've done that in our own ministry. I've done that in my personal life, the things that I wish would be different, the things that we have lost, the experiences that we've lost, the things that we've, had to walk through it in our family. Then I've had to name the things that I'm grieving for my friends and for my family, the things that they've lost, the way that this season hasn't played out the way that they wanted it to and that we've wanted it to. And in some ways, like, it has brought healing because it has brought this like sense that there is weight to this. There is a heaviness to what we're walking through. And yet, we don't have to stay there. And so as we close, I want to read simply Psalm 30. And let this verse, let this chapter just wash over you and just kind of be this cloak in some ways that allows us to mourn the things that we have lost, but also to see what God still can be doing, what God still is active in, and how God can still work even in the midst of our loss and pain. David writes, he says, I will exalt you, Lord, for you rescued me. You refused to let my enemies triumph over me. O Lord, my God, I cried to you for help, and you restored my health. You brought me up from the grave, O Lord, and you kept me from falling in the pit of death. Sometimes it has felt that way, hasn't it? Sing to the Lord, all you godly ones, and praise his holy name. For his anger lasts only for a moment, but his favor, it lasts for a lifetime. Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. When I was prosperous, I said, nothing can stop me now. Your favor, O Lord, made me as secure as a mountain. But then you turned away from me, and I was shattered. And of course, we know that God didn't actually turn away, but this is how it feels sometimes. We're on this mountain, and it's oh man, everything's going right. And then when things get hard, it feels shattering, and it feels like God has turned away. And David says, then I cried out to you, O Lord, and I begged the Lord for mercy, saying, what will gain if I die? If I sink into the grave, can my dust praise you? Right? Can we praise you if we're nothing? Can I tell of your faithfulness? Hear me, O Lord, and have mercy on me. Help me, O Lord. And then he pivots and he says, you have turned my mourning into joyful dancing. You have taken away my clothes of mourning, and you have clothed me with joy, that I might sing praises to you and not be silent. O Lord, my God, I give thanks to you forever. And so this next song that I want to do, I kind of, in this moment, as we see these prayer requests come in this next, in these next slides, this is the cry of other people's hearts too. And we have a privilege to step into the loss and to step into the pain and to step into the uncertainty of other people and pray for them on their behalf. You may not know the names that are behind these prayer requests, but you can know that there is a person that God cares about and loves. And so we have the privilege to come around these prayer requests and say, Lord, I do not know their name, but you do. And would you intervene in that situation? God, would you bring hope? Would you bring peace? Would you begin to turn mourning into dancing? And then after we have the privilege to pray, I'm just going to I want to put on the slide just a time to say, what are we grieving? What are we experiencing the loss? What are we mourning? To just begin to name and recognize all that is lost. But then, like David says, God will turn our mourning into dancing again. That we will experience joy. And that he says that I might sing praises to you and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever. And this last song just declares the holiness and worthiness of his name. And then in the bridge it says, I will build my life upon you. right? We can build our lives around the things of this world and the things that we think we have so neatly organized in a row, but it will, as we have seen, crumble and fail. But God is steadfast in building our lives upon. God is the only thing that we can go to that will remain constant and steady regardless of the storms that come our way. And so as we sing this song and listen to this song, would that be a reminder that God will turn our mourning into dancing again? And that we, as his followers, will say, I will praise you, I will give thanks, and I will not be silent.
Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. You're worthy of every breath that we could ever breathe. We live for you, God, we live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none besides you. Open up my
Thanks so much for joining us for chapel tonight. Make sure that you sign up for a watch party. Gather friends, family, neighbors, whoever you want. Sign up, because if you sign up by tomorrow night, you will get Heartland muffins delivered to you and your watch party on Saturday. So join us for church this weekend. We'd love to have you. And again, we might be out of the summer in the Psalm series, but there's so much good stuff in the book of Psalms. So as you're just processing through your life, as you're kind of seeking and wanting to know, more about God and his presence in your life, I want to encourage you to continue to read through the Psalms. It has so much life and life-giving. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you this weekend.